Australia has predators that are found nowhere else in the world. But as unique as they are, they do share characteristics with animals found in countries thousands of miles away. We'll take a look at the striking similarities between the Australian dingo and the North American coyote. Then the Tasmanian devil and the African hyena. The Australian python and the Indian python. And finally the Asian cobra and the Australian tiger snake. Get ready for a close-up look at these fascinating animals from around the world, all with a hardcore killer instinct. The dingo is known as the killer of the outback. With all the advantages of the largest mammalian predator in Australia, he has successfully carved a bloodied place in history.
Now, right from the outset, white man has had the dingo in his sights. Governments and farmers over the past 200 years have gone on an all-out effort to wipe out the dingo because he kills stock. Now, that's not surprising, because in the early colony, if a person was to steal a sheep or a cow, it was punishable by death. So to the dingo, stock was easy pickings. So literally, as Australia prospered on the sheep's back, so did the dingo.
However, the dingo played an important part in the lives of Aboriginal Australians. It was the subject of ancient rock art dating back thousands of years. They regarded the dingo very differently.
Aboriginals related to the dingo as a pet, a companion, and a hunting dog. So there's no wonder he's public enemy number one. But there's a little more to the story of the dingo than a wild dog chasing sheep. As well as sheep, the dingo preys on feral pigs, goats, emus, and even rabbits. In fact, it is said that after a drought, the dingoes can keep a rabbit population down for at least 2 years.
In North America, the coyote, similar in size and appearance to the dingo, shares a similar history of persecution by the white man. In the early years of the US, as settlers began raising a livestock, coyotes were introduced to a new and easy prey. Although livestock became only a small percentage of the coyote's diet, he soon was branded the rancher's worst enemy. The US government and other organisations declared an all-out war on the animal. Between 1915 and 1947, an estimated 1.9 million coyotes were shot, trapped or poisoned. After that, the death toll escalated between 60 to 90,000 per year. And even as recently as 1992, a record 98,000 coyotes were killed. But, amazingly, through it all, coyote populations actually increased and expanded. It's spring in Montana. A male bluegrass displays his courting behaviour, strutting and inflating his neck sacs to attract females. A pair of sandhill cranes, fresh from wintering in the south, have returned here to nest. A newborn elk calf, licked clean by its mother, instinctively lies motionless to be nearly undetectable to predators. And the alpha female of the coyote pack returns to her den and signals to her 5-week-old pups it's time to nurse. This year, she had an average-sized litter, 6 pups in all. Coyotes have evolved so that litter size is regulated by food availability. This is one of the reasons the animals have thrived, even as man tried to destroy them. As predator control operations killed coyotes, leaving more food available, the survivors responded by having larger litters. The largest recorded litter is 19. The pups only nurse for a few minutes at a time. Then it's time to play around the den and to explore their new world. The pups are already showing pack behaviours they'll use as adults. One shows dominance as he stands with his forepaws on the hind end of another. This is a very vulnerable time for the pups. There is constant threat from disease and predators. Probably only 2 pups will survive. The always vigilant mother spots movement in the distance. The pups scurry to the den, and the mother jumps for a review of the intruder over the bush. But it's only other members of the pack returning from their hunt. The mother moves to meet the approaching pack members. And reasserts her dominance as the alpha female. The newly arrived beta coyote submits. The other pack members actively participate in the pup rearing. This has been an important factor for the species survival, because if the parents are killed, the pups will still be cared for. The pups instinctively lick the other coyotes' mouths, which trigger them to regurgitate food for the hungry mother and her pups to eat. The pups are just starting to eat solid food and still nursing at the same time. A few weeks from now, the transition to solids will be complete and the pups will be well on their way to becoming adults. Coming up, find a coyote anywhere and you can bet it's pure coyote. Not so for the dingo.
In January 1788, Captain Arthur Phillip sailed into Botany Bay with the first fleet. And these settlers brought with them their European dogs, the greyhound and the Irish wolfhounds. And this marked the beginning of the end of the pure dingo.
This playful dog looks like so many faithful family pets from around the world. This is one of Rob Brettle's pets. He owns 4 of these fun-loving animals, but there is a major difference. He's a dingo.
The Australian dingo isn't much different to your average everyday Fido. And this is a dingo. In fact, every breed of dog has been bred from the dingo. And there are around about 1,000 breeds today. You like that, don't you, mate? One of the differences, though, is that the Australian dingo doesn't bark. It only howls. Now, in Thailand, the very same looking dog actually barks. Now, the reason I think that is because when this dog came into the village, they wanted a dog that had warned them, so barking was a good trait, so it was bred into them. And when they went hunting, the dog that barked was easier to follow. The Australian dingo went back to the wolf, and he only howls. Come on, Mickey.
Domestic dogs breed twice a year, whereas a dingo breeds only once a year. A dingo's lean physique, narrow waist and white tail tips are usually dingo giveaways.
This is my dingo, Mickey. I've had her since she's a puppy. I know her behaviour, her habits and her nature, and I couldn't call her in any way aggressive. This is not an animal I wouldn't trust with my own children. And I reckon she might be more pure dingo than those that have caused headlines over the last 20 years. It's amazing how those relatively few attacks have caused public opinion to go right against the dingo. And I'm going to get Mickey here tested genetically to see if she's a pure dingo.
But don't let Mickey's friendly attitude fool you. The dingo is a cunning, strong and successful predator. The pure dingo is an opportunistic hunter, a scavenger who feeds when he's hungry. When climate conditions provide plentiful years, kangaroo populations are often out of control, destroying farm fences and robbing sheep herds of valuable grazing land. This is when the dingo actually helps control these roo populations. But why would you eat a fast kangaroo when a fat sheep is a slower moving and tastier target for these expert jaws? But the newer feral animal, the hybrid dingo, has evolved into a cruel killer. He packs together with other wild dogs for the thrill of the kill. Wild dogs are known for bringing down an animal so they can go for the body's gourmet parts, the liver, kidneys or heart, leaving the animal to die an agonising death. But both the pure dingo and the wild dog still share an innate killer instinct. Both will chase and bring down any animal smaller than they are, which shows fear by running away.
Coming up, Rob hunts for the devil and finds him in Tasmania, of course. Tasmania is an island state of Australia, and although comparatively small, if flattened out would cover 25% of Australia. This rugged terrain is home to some of the world's most unusual animals, including the largest living marsupial carnivore, the Tasmanian devil.
Devils actually come out in the open to hunt at night, but during the day, if you want to find one, you've got to look into the forest.
But Rob knows the signs to look for in this mountainous island. Ideal devil country.
Just down there on that cliff face is a known devil haunt. It's been a haunt for thousands of years by the looks. You can see the trails that they've worn through, and I reckon there's got to be some caves where some might be living. I'm going to get down there and have a look.
The latitudinal position of Tasmania means a cool temperate climate. This translates to a wet and very cold place at times. But Rob's hot on the trail.
I'm on the right track. The first sign, feces, and it's devil feces too. And looking at it, not that old. Really good sign.
Native forest covers around half the total land region of Tasmania. 20% of the island has been declared a World Heritage Area, with nearly a third protected in the 14 national parks.
Real fresh tracks and the tail drag. Devils lay a scent. They put their anus to the ground and drag it. You can see where the tail's going. This is a really good sign.
This appears to be a spectacular and safe place for the devils to live. For all their bad reputation as a vicious and violent predator, Rob finds evidence of family life.
A lot of people think Tasmanian devils are solitary animals, but this here tells me they're not. This is a communal toilet, and it basically tells us that the animals living here, this is our place. And if a stranger comes in and he smells this, it means stay away.
Something Rob doesn't intend to do. The constant climbing up and down makes for warm work in this cool climate. Rob knows he's close, but so do the devils. Then, a small dog-sized black animal, looking for all the world like a possum gone wrong, is spotted heading for a kangaroo kill. Rob goes into stealth mode.
He can hear me, but he really can't see me. They've got really good hearing, but very poor eyesight. What I've snuck up on here is an old devil. I can see that because of the scars on his rump that he's got from fighting, the size of his head and his shoulders. They're much, much heavier than a young devil. Now the young devils, it seems to me, with their lighter build, are more pursuit and pounce hunters, where the older devils are more scavenger. He's just tearing into a young eastern grey kangaroo carcass, which could have been killed by younger devils, and he's just chased them away. Crunch, crunch, look at that. I'll just sneak off again. Don't want to disturb him too much. He's watching me now. Here, what I've got happening in front of me, you can see nowhere else in the world except here in Tasmania. It's basically a living museum. We've got Australia's largest carnivorous marsupial tearing into a wombat carcass. We're not far from the road, and I reckon this wombat got hit by a car, crawled into the bush here and died. Tasmanian devils have an exceptionally good sense of smell. I've noticed they've always got wet noses, and it's always working. And they probably found this carcass like I did, by smell. Doesn't smell real good. They've also got really, really good hearing. And I reckon if any more come, they're going to find it because of the ones that are feeding make a lot of noise. They scream. And it's that scream that has given the Tasmanian devil its name, the devil. I'll have to be real careful here. They've noticed me. I'm in a bit of danger myself here. They're coming from everywhere. That's why they call them little devils, I suppose. You can imagine the early settlers hearing in the night screams like this and coming out with a lantern, and all they can see is teeth and a white blaze on the chest of this horrific noise. You can see why they called him a devil. When you hear those jaws crunching into those bones, these are a creature you don't want to get bitten by. They've got more pressure in their jaws than a pit bull terrier. Now that noise isn't only to let other ones know there's a feed on. There's that saying, the squeaky hinge gets the most oil. Looks like here the noisiest devil gets the most food. And if you hear those jaws on those bones, oh, here comes another one. As you can see, most of that fighting and screaming is only bluff. They're not really hurting each other. But I suppose the one that makes the most noise is chasing the other ones away. They don't want to get hurt either. About 40 or 50 years ago, there weren't many Tasmanian devils in Tasmania, and they were worried about the population numbers. But judging by what's coming to this carcass, that's not the case now. There seems to be quite a few around. You might notice sometimes they stick their tails up. That's just a state of heightened excitement. Probably makes them look a bit bigger. After I leave here, probably more will turn up. And by morning, there's a good chance there'll be absolutely none of this carcass left. They'll have eaten everything. And that's one of the things about Tasmanian devils. They're like hyenas. Look at them go. I think it's time to leave.
Coming up, a devil and a laughing hyena. What could they have in common? More than you might think. Tasmanian devils not only sound like a pack of hyenas when they're feeding, they also share many other similarities with the African animals. Both feed mainly on carrion, but will kill on occasion. Both have extremely powerful jaws for pulverizing bones, and both depend on their very keen sense of smell for finding food. As the Okavango Delta settles into the late afternoon, the temperature cools off dramatically, and activity begins among the animals that sleep during the heat of the day. The alpha female of a spotted hyena clan performs a genital sniffing ritual with her juvenile offspring. 3 generations inhabit this female's den, and all cubs are permitted to nurse. But the oldest cubs are in the process of being weaned, a protracted affair which can last several months. The mother must gradually deny the milk so that her youngest 2-month-old cub receives his minimum nursing time of an hour and a half at least 3 times a day. A dominant male in the clan approaches his den, but he keeps his distance. Smaller and less aggressive than females, male hyenas undergo severe domination from their mates. The jawbone of a small antelope provides a source of play for the young cub. His older siblings are absorbed in their own wrestling game. Although hyenas exhibit dog-like characteristics, they're actually related more to mongooses. Their social structure is much different from canines. They live in clans of up to 100, and like the primates of the Okavango, a hyena's rank in the clan is determined by that of the mother. But the litter mates of different sex often have severe battles for dominance in and out of the den. Over 25% of all hyena pups are killed in their first month in these contests. Only the strongest cubs will be able to withstand their older siblings' constant harassment. As night approaches, the youngest cub returns to the den. Other hyenas in the clan pass by as they head into the night searching for carrion and prey. The older cubs and their mother move out to greet them. The cub's mother is a high-ranking female in the clan, so the approaching female must behave submissively. The two mothers will head out together to hunt for food, bringing their offspring along to feed. In only a month or more, the dominant female's youngest will also join in, nearly twice as early as the lower-ranking females.
Reticulated pythons have come to be feared due to their sheer size. The green anaconda may be the largest snake on the planet, but the reticulated python is the longest. It's been reported that reticulated pythons can grow up to 10 metres or over 32 feet in length. Although they do not possess venom, they are a formidable predator and are capable of killing their prey in seconds.
They're that fast. And this one's only 20 feet long and about 200 pounds in weight. You can see how some unsuspecting people in the jungles of Southeast Asia and South America get taken. They're ambush hunters. They lie in wait, just waiting for some unsuspecting animal or person to come by. Snakes aren't stupid. With their excellent sense of smell, they find the animal paths, in other words, the main roads the animals use in their native habitats, and just wait. Now, this one was raised by my dad and looked after by the family. This is my family and just one of our pets. Isn't she a beauty?
All a snake need do is taste the air and pick up the scent of its prey. In this case, the python has found quite a large victim. Once the life has been crushed out of the deer, the massive snake took 2 hours to down his meal. Snakes have the ability to dislocate their jaws to consume large prey. The bones are not fused, enabling the bottom jaw to split apart.
Now, pythons do grow big enough to eat people. What I'm going to try and show you here is how quick they can kill their prey. They strike and wrap it up. The prey is dead within a minute. Now, I couldn't demonstrate this with the big python because I don't want to be dinner. But imagine if that was you.
Although the Indian python might not grow as long as the reticulated variety, it can grow larger in girth and overall weight. 150 miles from Bangkok lies Khao Yai, Thailand's first national park. The Indian python is one of the largest snakes in the world. They've been known to attain lengths of more than 20 feet and weigh more than 150 pounds. Once a common species, habitat destruction and slaughter for their skin are threatening world python populations. This constricting snake is not venomous, but possesses a powerful bite. In the late afternoon, we'll explore the northwest region of Khao Yai. Pythons can be aggressive towards humans, but this 12-foot specimen would rather move away than stand his ground. For hunting, in addition to their factory organs, pythons rely on specialised heat-sensitive pits to locate prey. These pits, located along the outer edge of the upper lip, detect heat from warm-blooded animals. The quail is unaware that it's being silently hunted. python prepares to swallow its prey, approaching head first, then stretching and opening its mouth. It hooks its teeth from one side of its jaw into the bird and moves the opposite jaw forward. Copious amounts of saliva lubricate the prey. Key to the snake's survival through the ages has been the ability to quickly kill large prey and digest it slowly, sustaining the animal for long periods of time. The saliva contains a strong enzyme which immediately begins the digestion process. As the food reaches the stomach, further enzymes are introduced. And after days or weeks, depending on the size and temperature of the prey, digestion of even bones and feathers is complete. Coming up, we go back to Australia so Rob can hunt for a unique python. Actually, an old friend.
Pythons are the most ancient group of snakes on the planet, and Australia has more than 50% of all the pythons in the world. It could be called the land of the python. And I find this one here, or this group or species, the carpet python, very special.
Carpet pythons are extremely adaptable snakes. They are found throughout Australia. Most live near water, but perhaps the most unusual species is actually found in the driest area of the continent. Rob heads inland to the vast western desert of Queensland. All at once, this is a beautiful and unforgiving Australian place in what is known as the dry continent.
I'm 1,000 miles from the east coast of Australia, but if you go anywhere in Australia, 1,000 miles from any coast, you're in a desert. And even out here, you'll find carpet pythons, but they're not just anywhere. If you do happen to cark it out here, you probably won't rot, you'll mummify like this poor little bit of dragon did. Out here, in the centre of Australia, and I mean the dead centre of Australia, in a very small area of about 50,000 square miles, lives a very special kind of python. Now, he's really special to me because it's named after my father. It's the Brettles python. Now, he's different from any other carpet python because he's got more scales on his head and more scales on his body. Why? I don't know. I'll bet you've been wondering how I found this. Well, I've been watching him for a while. It's this time in the afternoon when the heat's gone that the creatures in the desert start to move around. I've been seeing a lot of lizards and I just watched him go into that clump of grass. This is the Brettles python. Now, he's only young. He's got a small head and a big body. He could be 2 or 3 years old. And that makes me excited because that means they're breeding out here. They're doing well. It's a good sign. You can see how he blends into the rock. Almost perfect camouflage. Now, the only difference between this carpet and all the others is it's got more scales on its head and on its body. They're smaller. So it looks more like a skin. Now, I don't know any reason why it should have more scales, but I reckon it makes them look more beautiful because it looks like skin rather than scales. This Brettles carpet python has lots and lots of heat sensors right around the top jaw and along the bottom jaw. And I suppose in the colder nights of the desert, it makes it easier for him to find little warm-blooded animals and birds that are probably more widespread than other places. Makes it easier for him to hunt.
Coming up, we go to Thailand for a face-to-face with the deadly cobra. Rob travelled to Thailand to meet some of the world's most daring snake handlers and charmers. Their shows are not for the faint-hearted. Rob took some mental notes and then decided to try his hand at charming a cobra.
do is to attract his attention with something else, then slowly put your hand over his head, very gentle, slow, so he doesn't see anything's happening. The cobras can only strike forwards, so we're doing this quite safe. There he is. That's how you catch a cobra. And this is the deadliest snake outside of Australia.
A 5-foot monocled cobra is basking in the late afternoon sun. Although folklore suggests otherwise, the cobra only attacks a human if threatened. Cobras prey only on animals small enough to eat whole: birds, amphibians, lizards, other snakes, as well as occasional eggs. And the cobra is especially known as a controller of rodents. The snake locates prey by tasting the air. Its forked tongue picks up molecules of scent and brings them back into a highly developed olfactory organ in the roof of its mouth. In a desperate effort, the rat delivers a bite of its own, and the cobra injects more venom. In seconds, the venom begins to act on the nervous system of the victim. The snake hovers. The snake stretches and aligns its jaw and positions the rat in preparation for swallowing. As the sun sets and the venom has caused complete paralysis and death, the cobra aligns itself in front of the head of its prey and begins the swallowing process. The process can take minutes or hours, depending on the size of its prey. Coming up, back in Australia, the land of the poisonous snake, a killer that can survive where no other can.
Australia is the land of the poisonous snake. Interestingly, they have all probably evolved from a single species that drifted here from Asia some 15 million years ago. Now, the tough conditions here created tough snakes. We have more species of venomous snake than anywhere else.
The tiger snake ranks among the top 5 most deadly species on the planet. Tiger snakes have been able to adapt to many different environments. The extreme heat of the desert, the swamps of South Australia, and perhaps most remarkably, a few small inhospitable islands off the southern coast of Australia. Each species has evolved to maximise survival in less than ideal conditions.
To look at, a tiger snake is just another average Australian snake. Sure, they're one of the most deadly, and they have killed a lot of people, but then so have a lot of other snakes. They come in a wide range of colours, they have live young, but then so do a lot of other snakes. I suppose the most amazing thing is this, the way those characteristics have combined so this snake can survive where no other can. Now, one other thing, they are not fussy eaters. They will eat anything that moves, and that's why I'm standing very still.
About 9,000 years ago, tiger snakes had it made, thriving on frogs and lizards in the coastal rivers and swamps. But as sea levels rose, the tiger snake was forced inland. Here it came into contact with other venomous snakes, better suited to the harsh inland environment.
When you look at this amazing snake, you just have to wonder why. It does just as well on a cold, waterless island as it does on the edge of this freshwater swamp, or even why it has such deadly venom. It's in fact the 4th most deadly snake in the world.
And then, of course, there was the problem of prey. The tiger snakes found that the inland regions lacked the frog populations they were used to hunting. In fact, the most staple food source was rats, and until this time, tiger snakes had not really hunted rodents. Unequipped to deal with new environmental conditions, the tiger snake population began to decline. The Kreft's tiger snake was one of the species which managed to adapt.
Now this is an interesting little fellow, the Kreft's tiger snake. By rights he shouldn't even be here, it's too dry. Now he was lost for a long time, but my father and I rediscovered him in 1962.
The Kreft's tiger snake inhabits a small valley in the Flinders Ranges of Australia known as the Valley of the Tigers. This place is a veritable oasis for frogs. The cooler climate is not ideal for the average snake. Being cold-blooded animals, snakes depend on sunlight to warm their bodies and provide them with the energy needed to hunt. About 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit is a good temperature for snakes to hunt. The Kreft's tiger snakes are smaller and darker than the common tiger snakes. Darker scales means that the body is able to absorb heat quickly, while a smaller body, particularly a smaller head, enables the snake to access the tiny rock crevices which are home to its prey. After warming its body in the sun, this Kreft's tiger takes to the water to gorge itself on frogs, or even better, tadpoles. All snakes taste and smell with their tongues. Microparticles send messages to the Jacobson's organ located in the roof of the mouth. By tasting the air, the snake is able to determine information about prey, moisture, danger, and shelter. Snakes can smell just as well underwater as they can on land. The water temperature here is quite low. This means that the Kreft's tiger snakes only have a limited time to hunt before their body temperature drops and they become sluggish. The only solution is to return to land or a hot rock to increase body heat and replenish energy reserves. This ritual will be repeated several times throughout the day. Although the Kreft's tiger snake has successfully adapted to this valley, its dependence on a single food source makes it vulnerable. If outside forces were to impact on this environment and the frog population were to diminish, the snake population would also suffer.
Fear and ignorance are one thing, respect and understanding another. Like an onion has many layers, the snake will continue to shed its skin throughout its life. It is my hope that through the correct education, we humans can peel back the layers of misconceptions, false truths, tall tales about snakes. If we can do this, then there is every chance that more people can learn to live in harmony with this beautiful reptile. My name's Rob Brettle. Thanks for joining us on Killer Instinct. Like to get his fangs in here, wouldn't he?